We are back for another episode of Shark Nation Live here, number 28. Jason and we're going to talk about some boot camps today. So, Jason, how you doing, man?
Doing awesome. In honor of this Memorial Day week, we want to thank all those that were out there that, protect and serve the greatest country in the world. Thank you for your service. We figured it'd be a great time to talk about boot camp, right? But boot camp for real estate agents. What does that mean to you, Chad?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I think it's changed. The first time I heard it, some other teams were running it, and I don't think we never did it. We never did it. I think I onboarded individually, and it was a mess. And I was like, not regretted, like, was frustrated when we got a new agent because it just took so much away. And when you learn the boot camp process, basically, it's better for them, better for us, and it gets them where they need to go quicker. I feel like.
Yeah, for
So
sure. I think just to take a step back, I think
right.
in our context, we're talking about like a systematized training process for new agents or new team members that are going to be coming onto the team, and kind of a structured, organized way to get them trained up and you know help hopefully become successful real estate agents, right?
Yeah, and the old way was just like, oh, you ready to sign up? Cool. Meet with you weekly, or I'll meet with you daily, or like it was a hodgepodge of just what do you need next, and like, oh, I forgot about learning this. And I did, and it did work a little bit. I incorporated a video process, where I basically, like, I had done that hodgepodge for so long that I got it to the point where it was like, all right, watch a ton of videos, then we're having this meeting, watch a ton of video. And there was like kind of three stages, and it did work, like, you know but it pales in comparison to like live and this stuff. Um so let's start it with, give them your structure of how you're running a boot camp,
Yeah,
before I get them on.
yeah. And like you said, when I first started, and I'm sure a lot of agents had this, it's pretty much like you get an hour of like buyer training and an hour of seller training. It's like, okay, figure it out. If you have any questions, ask an agent that's been at the office for over 6 months, and hopefully they'll take the time to show you, right? So, kind of what I'm developing, and kind of what other other team leaders that we follow kind of structure is like a 2 or 3 week long training class. So my training is going to be kind of like from 10 to 2, Monday through Friday. And it's going to go over all kinds of different topics. We have real estate follow up 101. We talk about our culture, our principles. We talk about, all the systems that we have, our CRM, our follow up boss, our CSU for transaction management. And then we go into a week long of buyer and seller training, right? Where it's going over the contracts in depth. And there's homework assignments where, hey, pretend, I want you to drop an offer for a conventional loan, 5% down for, 123 Main Street or whatever. So they would put together the offer, and then they would pretend I'm the buyer, and they would present, right? And then we, feedback, course correct, what they missed, how do we do it? And then we, add in other things for offers, such as different types of loan, seller assist, inspections. And then we start adding in addendums like price escalation addendums, appraisal contingencies, all that kind of stuff. Hey, do they have to sell their house in order to put an offer on this house? So you kind of go through the whole gamut over 2 week long. And then, we want to get in the field, right? Some training for that. So, we'd like to go either shadow agents on the team for, showings, listing appointments, open houses, and get with inspectors. I think this is big, and I don't think a lot of agents do enough of this, where, we go in the field, and we have some preferred inspectors that we work with, and, they'll go out, take our agents on the inspections with them. So they're seeing what kind of red flags these inspectors are pointing out. So when they go and they're showing houses, they're much more professional. It's not the the Vanna White, like, here's the fucking kitchen, like, no shit, you know what I mean? Like, but if you could start pointing out some of the things that might be issues ahead of time, then it looks like, oh, okay, Chad knows what he's talking about.
It's really good. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really good. Um, so how quickly do they talk with human beings that want to buy and sell or just look at real estate?
So, I mean, immediately, I think a big part of this job is getting on the phone. So, I mean, day one, we're getting, their contacts into their database. We're getting, you know, I like to call it like either warm outreach, people that you know, right? People that are on your social media, your emails, your phone contact list, get them all in there. So it's a more of a warm conversation to start, right? A little bit more comfortable with that. And then we'll start implementing, okay, here's, 50 or not all at once, but, kind of break it out. Here's a couple leads here. Let's work on some scripts and some dialogue, and then get on the phones and practice it, right? Or
Yeah.
role play it and then go out and practice it. Okay, how'd you do? Okay, well, maybe you might want to say XYZ, or maybe, like when you're talking to your wife, Chad, it's like not what you say, but it's how you say it, that type of thing.
Right.
So all important little like tactics, but I think, in our business, in order to, it's list to last, and then you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable on the phones.
100%. And that was a big game changer for, I mean, I really think back to the whole process we had prior. I mean, there really just wasn't one. And now, I think I'm a little different with you where I still give the runway. We don't start till day 3. So I guess, and to get into it, boot camp, I do a 1 week boot camp. And basically there's a theme of the day, like buyers day 1, just, it's kind of like everything involved. I set them up for, each day it's like, we start off talking about like, this is what we know about the process of buyers. This is what you don't know. This is what they don't know. These are the systems we use. These are the things we say. These are the things they say. We just kind of get it all out there. So it's like buyer day, seller day, um, script day, and then we get them comfy with. So we actually, to come back to your point too, you talk about warm and cold outreach. So we do the core 4 in our boot camp. So that's Alex Hermosi's core 4: warm outreach, cold outreach, run paid ads, and create content. So for warm outreach, we do have them reach out to their sphere of influence. Hey, got into the business. How are you? How's your family? Cold outreach, we have them reach out to for sale by owners and expireds listings. And um, run paid ads, we have run paid ads. So we have leads from those paid ads that they work. Um, and then create content, we make them all make a video. That is a really, really good one. I wish I'd have done that years ago. I don't want, and that's what I tell everybody. The purpose of our boot camp is to see, I know everyone's capable, but very few are willing. And that's the purpose of the boot camp. It's 1 week to find out if they're willing, so I give them to get comfy. Day 1 is buyers, day 2 is sellers, but day 3, they're getting thrown out into the fire. I mean, I think day 3 is a little easy because they're just reaching out to their sphere. But when they have to hit record on that video, though, I've had it happen where people don't come back the next day. They don't send me the video. Um, but then day 4 we do the eFISBOs expireds, and day 5 we do the run paid ads that would they reach out to the old leads we have from paid ads. So we're getting an experience of all of that. And then instead of just making it 2 week, I run into a launch program after that. So it's a 6-week ramp up. So they make it through boot camp, 6-week ramp up to become a regular team partner member. And in that 6-week period, they're taking the pieces they like from boot camp, the prospecting methods, and going deep and not wide. They're picking 1 or 2 and they're going all in on those. And then they're fine tuning their skills on that, as well as the offers that we do in the boot camp. And we do the mock offers as well. That's been super, super good. I've done that for forever. And I think that's you got to do that because you got to see what the end result is. If you don't know what the contract looks like and what the details are, you don't know how to help somebody through it. And giving them scenarios that could be real, make it work. So, but yeah, I mean, but so getting now that, my strategy's laid out there, yours is, I'll say my biggest thing though is, I've been through it a little bit now, a couple times, and I think my biggest takeaway is it has to be live. Like, it has to be relevant. Like, it can't just be like, we have videos for homework, we have slide decks that I go through, but every day, is particularly this last one, every day I'd come on and just be like, what do you guys think? What are you learning? What don't you know? And it would just, so there's like a half hour, 45-minute, just like, where's this conversation going to go with this group? And it really led to some really good current 2-day things, so that it's they're ready to rock in today's world. So, what's been your experience of kind of like that pre-scripted versus, live interaction?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head before, where you're saying, like, it's a business partnership, right? And I'd like to, tell the team members, like, this is me holding up my end of the bargain, right? Getting you comfortable with everything, showing you the business, showing you the whole process, getting you like confident and competent enough to be able to explain, legal documents to strangers in a way that, what you're talking about, right? Your end of the process, or your end of the bargain, is, you got to work these leads and, make your calls and be a professional and, show up, and, it's my reputation on the line too. So when you're going out there, you're an extension of me and the team. So, make us all prepped.
I had something really good occur relative to just like kind of getting them in to become the partner, and that's something, I was talking about this yesterday. It's you hear the core values thing, and I always said, like, because most companies just throw them up on a thing and they're hollow words, and um, I continuously go deeper and deeper with mine, and we've adopted, the mission, the values, and the principles, the MVP, not just core values. That's the whole thing. But anyway, I underestimated the real importance with those, because they're so hollow for so many companies and people that I've come across in my experience. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that there's not them out there, but in my experience, they've always been just like words on a piece of paper.
When I worked at Canon, so I probably was in like literally 1,000 different companies, and I always go in there and, like, on this big board, it'd say like blah 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 is our mission statement to do this and that, and I'm like, dude, it looks like it was like fucking copy and paste it from like 50 other places that I was in. I'm like, do you really mean that this is what your like true values are? Or are you just saying this to kind of, okay, we did HR, we're done?
Exactly, man. Exactly my experience. And then, when I got in touch with mine, and then I put it out there now all the time. I mean, oh man, I talk about it all the time. And then, well, and it was cool too, because like, you take the time to define it and you wonder, I mean, come on, like, we're all human here. Like, and that's what this podcast is about. Like, I write them down. I'm like, am I doing the same shit? Like, am I just writing stuff on paper? But the cool part for me was, I just went into my regular rhythm after I had written them down. This was probably a year ago at this point now, maybe 9-10 months. And every day, like, even personally, I'm like doing stuff and I'm like, holy crap, this goes directly to my core value. Like, and I say this statement, I've said this statement for years, and that goes directly to that core value, or principle or whatever. But so to all that point now, that journey aside, we re-go over the mission, values, and principles. A lot of them had been in a webinar, or we've done it in our strategy call where I've told them the mission, the values, and the principles of the team, but we revisit that on day one, right? And what I did, and I actually did it for the first time this week, or this past week, whatever, my past boot camp, and it'll be a repeat every single time now. I made them define their own personal ones in on day one, and I didn't revisit until day 5. And it was really interesting. One of our team members, like, I aligned with her really well, and she didn't tell me hers, her mission, her values. I told her mine, obviously, but she didn't tell me hers. So she was floored at how much I aligned with her, because I didn't know it. And when she brought it up, and I like modeled exactly what she wanted throughout the week without knowing that that was her mission, values, and principles. They're written on a piece of paper I never saw, and two, just like having them share that at the end. I don't know. I like this. I'm trying like that. We had a really good moment on the last day of boot camp from them. Like, I don't know, like it's like their moment to just go like, we made it through. By the way, this is my mission, values, and principles, and like we lived this week, and I really like that. And like this team aligned. So maybe it worked well that we were all aligned, but there was just a really good moment from them taking that week to craft their own, and revisit it on Friday at the end. And then I told them, I said, now I'd share that with everybody. Share that with your clients, share that with your people, let people know what you're about. So for me, that was really, really big on this one, man. That was good.
Yeah. Getting deep, right?
Yeah.
You got to do, June's coming up. You got to do the go into the board.
Oh yeah. We're ready.
Do your quarterly go into the board. Yeah. That's good stuff too. On a side note, I've been, just hitting up the team after going to the board once a week. Everybody, what kind of accountability do you want? Do you want mild, medium, or hot sauce? Everybody wants hot sauce. And then when Uncle Jay's texted him once a week, hey, how are you doing towards hitting your goal of ABC, taking your kids to Disneyland or financial freedom or whatever, their main goal is? Because like you said, real estate's what we do. It's not why we do it, right? There's got to be a better why before that. But, it's interesting to see, who wants the hot sauce and who doesn't want the hot sauce and who's kind of just dabbling around, and then who's like, yep, hit my numbers. And then you see the results that they're getting. And it's like, I think there's something onto this where it's like, hey, look, if you stay consistent every day and do what you say you were and be true to yourself, look what you could accomplish.
I've even experienced. I mean, that's me. Like transparently. I mean, I work pretty hard and I have a pretty high standard for myself, but like, um, I fell off a lot of that stuff over the last couple of years, and I look definitely at the last 2 months, and it's like I'm got more stuff than I know what to do with now. A pipeline is so full, and I keep filling it because I've just taken the activities I wasn't doing before. It's I think this business, I've always said it's so easy to play office. Um, and I think that's the other good part about boot camp, keeping it, on point with the boot camp subject. Like it's for me with our boot camp, I stress the whole week. All I say is like, look, guys, we can sit in trainings till we're blue in the face, but like you've got to have conversations with people. And I do the how do you learn how to ride a bike all week. That's all I say. Everybody understands that. How do you learn how to ride a bike? You don't sit in a webinar and learn how to ride a bike. You go outside, you get on your bike and you pedal, and then you fall a lot. And they get stressed, like, oh, I'm going to call these leads. Like, what if I suck, or what if I'm like, or well, and we talk major minor. So like, I have people pick one or two strategies and go all in on them instead of, doing 8 different things at once for lead generation. And I'm like, look, this week that, this is your beta week. Like, fail, say the wrong things, find out you hate for sale by owners and expires. Good. That's what this week's purpose is. But you're going to prove to me that you're willing. Like that's what, it's like a beta. Like, let's see what sticks. Let's see if we vibe. Let's see if you like me, I like you, and let's see.
Yeah, it's a good fit, right?
Right.
Now that we're dating, is this a good fit? And interesting, like you said, with going back to boot camp, right? And a lot of times, people, they get their license, they go through the training, they don't really know what the job entails, right? And they think it's still going to be like something that they saw on HGTV, where it's like, okay, go show 3 houses, or you're just going to show up at a house and people are going to come there, and then all of a sudden they're going to end up buying it, or they're just going to sell the house. It's that easy, right? And then when people kind of see, whoa, this is really a lot of work. You're working when people are working, and you're doing all your prospecting call, follow-up paperwork. And then you're also working when people aren't working, because that's when they have the availability to go show houses or, meet with you for a listing appointment and things like that. So trying to structure your day, setting up your days for success, and kind of realizing like, oh, this isn't just, like a glamour job.
And that's what else boot camp does, like for us and for them. Like it's a dual way, it's a two-way street here. Like um for us, I mean, because I've been there with team members, that we've been together for 6 months or a year, and I just didn't really realize they're not willing to do the bare minimum that's required. And on me, didn't set the proper expectations, didn't find out, didn't ask them, didn't put them in the right scenario, didn't have boot camp, just didn't know though at the same
Yeah.
time. For me, like I didn't know how to figure that out until now. But then on their side of it too, like you said, like forget me and forget us for a second. Some people get into this and that's what they think. They think the job is the thing, and they get in and it's not the thing they thought it was. And they don't want to do it that way. So they just, and that's fine. Like, okay, no big deal. Like,
Yeah.
but at least we find out in week one instead of year one, like a year later. Cause
Yeah. Not everybody makes it through boot camp, right? So
yeah.
it's like, okay, if this isn't the right expectation, or kind of, and like you said, I've totally failed as a leader of the team because I didn't have these systems and processes in place prior to this. So some agents that were on the team prior are probably like, oh, we kind of got a half-ass version of that. But, it's like, okay, we're evolving and growing as team leaders. Systems and processes are getting put into place. And it's like, I'm doing another one this week. I'm inviting, past team members, hey, you want to jump back in? See what's up, see how this is different, see how this can help you grow your business. you know
Well,
let's
because
see
that's
let's see which ones take me up on that.
the truth. I mean, I feel like, yes, all right, this is good. This is real good. This will be good for this. So I've had this conversation a lot recently with Brittany, because the business has been hard. Interest rates are high. A lot of people are on pause. I mean, and then you went from 5.5 million sales to 4.2. There's less sales out there, whatever. But a lot of people are getting out of the business and all this stuff. But I told her, like, so, and yeah, this is really good because I tried, as I tried the digital marketing agency with the CRM, high level, doing all that. And I told her, I was like, here's the thing, because like she's like, what if real estate like is not where our talent should be placed right now? And I'm like, don't get me wrong, there's a space for that conversation where you don't want to enter a business that's shrinking. Like, I wouldn't get into newspapers today, like stuff like that. Like, there's a place for that conversation. But generally speaking, like, I'm like, look, Britt, here's the deal. Like, no one knows. There's no known, like, oh, it's going to be okay or not okay, or like AI is going to take over or it's not, or like nobody can predict. We don't have a crystal ball here. You know what I mean? But I know real estate. I know it really well. And um, when I just do the things that I wasn't doing in this space, that you avoid, that you're scared to do, that the whatever. It's amazing. Like work works, as everyone says lately, right? Um, but it's and you commit to that deep, not wide. You master. Like I didn't like I became a decent team leader. We had a decently successful team, and I kind of like picked my head up and started looking other places, and it felt
Shiny objects
right.
and shiny objects that get us all.
But if you just sit down and master the subject, like you can't get me anywhere if I plug all the holes to the ship, right? And I told her, I'm like, and I know this space, and I know I've wanted it before, and this is really good. You look at the digital marketing agency, like that was an uphill battle. That was harder. That was way harder. At least for us. It doesn't mean that for somebody else doesn't work, but like for so like okay, so we go try some other business. Like I don't know, landscaping or like whatever. I just picking a business, opening up a coffee shop, something. You don't know what you don't know there, and there's a lot of those things in real estate that I already do know. So you take that, say 50% knowledge, I don't know, right, versus 5%, right, in that industry, and you take that 50 and you get it to 55 and 60 and 70, and in each of those percentages, as you get higher, is a very big deal. Like 99, like I like it with honesty with your spouse. This is a good one. There's a difference between 99% and 100%. And that last 1%, let me tell you personal
They'll fight you.
experience, that last 1% is because you go from 1 to 2%, like those little things aren't that hard to, or even from 10 to 20%, they're not that hard. But from 99 to 100, not that anybody's ever, well, honestly, you can be 100%, but not that everybody knows 100% on, real estate. I understand these are different, but I want you to understand the difference at the higher level percentages, and I think that's the easiest way to relate that. It's like, how many of you are 100% honest with your significant other?
You know what's interesting too? Just human behavior, right? Instead of like doing the maybe hour-long activity that might be uncomfortable, like calling or whatever that you don't want to do, we'll try to reinvent a whole other business just to distract ourselves from like this hour of freaking work. It's like, just do your sit-ups, and it's like, we'll do anything that we can to kind of prolong it or procrastinate it, and then it's like, if I just did that, like I said, Chet Black says this all the time, like, just work part-time. If you work a couple hours in the morning just doing your calls and doing some of the basic follow-up, an hour of cold prospecting and an hour of follow-up every day, you're working part-time. And people still don't want to do it, and it's like, okay, that's why I think, like, going back to boot camp, I think it's important for people to see, like, these are the skills, this is what the schedule is going to kind of be like, this is kind of what you're going to be in for, right? Is this a good fit for you? Did anybody even tell you that this is like a sales job, right?
Yeah.
Do you realize that this is like a 1099? We don't get kind of the days off that are like traditional, or vacation time or sick time or benefits and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we have different avenues for these things, especially with our brokerage, but it's like, it's not traditional, you have to hunt in the morning, eat in the afternoon type of thing.
A lot of that's so relevant. I mean, especially the, like, getting ready to get ready stuff. I mean, you can do that with everything, and working out. I'll just start when the gym opens, or when I go get my new clothes at the store, or when I
need new sneakers.
Yep. And it's like, just go run outside real quick. That's better than and that's this, man. You're so right. You're so right. And it's that working part-time thing. Well, and I think one other thing that's helped me. So for any existing real estate agents listening to this, think of this is really good here. Like, pro tip, trust me.
This is what I do. I put it on a tee for you, and then you knock it out of the park.
So if you're an existing agent, and even if you're not, think of a time you helped somebody. But if you're an existing agent, think about that couple, or that buyer that you just felt so good about watching that thing come to a close. You formed a really good relationship, maybe even a friendship from it. I know we all have had those. We've had that really good one that you're so happy that person now. You can get more of those very meaningful relationships if you go through the ugly process of working the leads. Like, 100 people that you reach out to, and you could find one super meaningful person that could be a part of your life for the rest of your life. I mean, you never know. Like, you just never know. It could lead you to another industry. Like, you just don't know. Like, I'm not saying it has to be, and I had that happen with I thought of it from a team member side, because, like, like, I don't know. We get into this business, we want to sell houses. And then when you go to the recruiting side, for anybody that has, it's like, oh, here come these agents and their opinions. And, I'm like, I know.
Their opinions.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's just.
Well, just like boot camp, right? They kind of, take Chad, and the old Chad is gone, and now we're going to chisel you into, the best version of yourself. So it should be kind of the similar process. But before we move on, I want to touch on something that you were just talking about, and I think this is so helpful for current agents right now, right? If you're kind of thinking about like your business, right? Take your last 5 deals, right? Who did you work with? And then reverse engineer your way back on how you got them as a client, right? So then you could kind of figure out, okay, oh, I met them at blah, 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 or I got them from this referral source or this, method or whatever. And then you can kind of figure out what's working in your business and what's not. A lot of times we go through the motions, we close it out and we don't even take a second to think about, how did this person come to me or how did they find me, right? Um, but simple tip.
And then go deeper with it, go, how can I do more of that thing? How can I make that thing better? How can I increase okay, if this is well, I met them at this book club and then did this, and I don't know why I got a book club, but like if like that process, how could I make their experience through that process, even if it's fear, how can I make it better? I could have dropped the gift basket off whenever we started looking or when we went under contract. I did just little things, just go deeper and not wider. um I've struggled. I've had to, like, all this stuff we're talked about in this episode, I have had to battle against.
We
um
all do. We all do. It's a constant thing. That's why we do this. So we could, we're both learning, right? We're both not saying that we're, oh, this accomplished or that. It's like we're in the weeds. We're trying it, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and, giving people some tips. So then that way maybe it'll shorten their learning curve for, when they want to go do it.
that's the goal. This is not the most, yeah, that's the goal of this show, really. That's the mission of the show, is throw Jason and I's conversations out there each week so you can see our progress as human beings in the real estate space and take a nugget or two and apply it to your world. If you're in real estate, more applies. If you're not, something will probably still apply, because real estate's not who we are, it's what we do, right?
For sure. For sure. And I think we could wrap up this show on that note. Again, thank you all, the men and women out there, for your service on Memorial Day week. Appreciate you guys following along for the show. If you like it, or if there's anything that you want us to talk about, hit us up in the comments, or make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe.
That's it. Like and subscribe. Let us know if you got a guest that wants to jump on, or if you think you're a good candidate, let us know. We've got some interviews coming up. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.